Okay, so we're live. This is Nephilimfree. I got a special guest with me. This is True Empiricism. True and I go back several years. True, like myself, has really dug his head into this evolution controversy, and he knows what he's talking about. And it's really good to have him here. How you doing tonight, brother? It's good to have you here. And I watched your hangout recently. You did a hangout where you had an evolutionary geneticist in there, and it was a bad showing for the guy. He just couldn't stand up to somebody who's well informed about the subject, and I thought that was interesting. That was a good hangout.
Oh yeah, it was a great chat. The geneticist kept on trying to change the topic while I was speaking to him, and I don't understand what the issue is with evolutionists. I know when you talk to them and you present your inductive argument of design, they always tend to run back to the claim that, well, it's therefore a God of the gaps argument. And if you present to them an inductive argument, and you explain to them your premises, which is leading to your conclusion, it would seem to me that the only thing that you can really do to deal with that is to try to critique or refute the premises.
Yeah.
So I don't understand. I mean, this guy's a geneticist, and if anybody goes and they listen to how this guy was responding to me and reacting, very, very unsophisticated.
Nothing like that. All it's ever shown is that mutations create weaknesses, deformities, and death. That's what they do. It's so bizarre to me that here we are in 2018, and we still have evolutionists to this day after 85 years of studying genetic mutation. And all the papers in the science, in the medical journals, talking about how this mutation has created this weakness or that disease or this whatever, nonetheless, deformed proteins, which leads to Tay-Sachs or Alzheimer's or cancer or whatever, and the evolutionists are still claiming that genetic mutation is what designs all the fantastic things in the world. Isn't that so bizarre to you?
Yeah, it really is. It's counterintuitive. I look at evolutionary theory as if it's a gigantic stone that's weighing down science, because that is what it is. It's slowing down scientific progress. We already understand that a lot of these claims that evolutionists make are not consistent with reality in any way, shape, or form. I mean, if you, for example, if you have a guy typing out a book, it's understood that the characters, those sequences of characters utilizing that English alphabet, is going to be understood by that translator. It's going to be understood by the intelligent agent that is typing those words down, right? This is common knowledge. This is the type of information that we're seeing with TNA. What they seem to believe is that by the occasional errors or mistakes that typer might make, down the line, then somehow information is going to be produced. Now, we know that that's not the case, but if you continue to produce typos and mistakes in your typing or in your writing a language, the continuation of that effect is going to end up producing gibberish. It's not going to be, what is your evidence that the accumulation of changes over time is capable of producing sufficient information like what we see is needed for life? See, I'll be willing to grant you this, that you can get something equivalent to dropping a couple toothpicks on the floor and maybe forming the word "it." But what would be needed for even just what's basic for life is equivalent to dropping an entire encyclopedia volume set worth of information. And you need that information all at once. You can't wait for that to evolve.
Exactly. That's exactly true.
Well, connected to your point, actually, is that's true. If you look all over the fossil record, you see a lot of, if we just put everything on the table and try to see where the evidence fits, the evolutionists claim that the deeper you go into the fossil record, the more primitive the organism is. And we know for a fact that this is not true, because when you go to close to the bottom of the fossil record, the Cambrian era, you see all the major phyla already there. You see the chordates, the echinoderms, and so on. Below that, which was the Precambrian that took about 88% of the geological time scale, you only see some fauna, some cyanobacteria, and a couple of stray organisms. You see no evidence of all the major phyla even coming into existence. So at the bottom of the fossil record, We have most major phyla already there, actually all major phyla already there, and no evidence for divergence. So right out the gate, we have no evidence for the divergence of all the organisms, all the major phyla on the planet. And so the reality of the situation is that when we're talking about the fossil record or this whole idea of phylogeny, it's nonsense. It's a hot mess. It doesn't make any sense. They want to point out one thing, ignore 15 things that contradicts the idea. The Homo erectus, Homo archaicus, Homo Neanderthal, these are really just early men. But if you look at the supposed divergence from some of the earlier apes like Australopithecus, all you're really seeing is a bunch of men and a bunch of apes.
That's right.
There's no evidence of transitioning. It's just a huge leap that they're jumping over that they're not accounting for. So the reality of the situation is just simply that despite the fact that they want to pretend as if the fossil record shows this, that, or the other, or even genetics shows this, that, or the other, there's a lot of contradicting data for anything that they would try to posit in defense of their theory.